Your neurologist named what your body's doing, but nobody told you which nerve is running the whole operation. Now, we just finished our three-part series on amygdala, and the response to that series told me everything that I needed to know. You want the science. You want to understand what is actually happening inside your body because you've spent years being handed a diagnosis without an explanation and a prescription without a reason. So today we are starting a new three-part series, and we're going to really dive deep into the vagus nerve. Part one is all foundational. I'm going to tell you what it actually is, where it is, what it does, and why its role in your migraine cycle has almost certainly never been explained to you. Not by your neurologist, not by your primary care doctor, and probably not by anybody. So, what is the vagus nerve? The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in your body, and it runs from your brainstem all the way down through your neck, through your chest, through the heart, through the lungs, and down into your abdomen. It has branches that connect to your gut, your liver, your kidneys, your spleen, and it's not just one pathway. It is a two-way communication highway between your brain and almost every major organ that you have. Now, the name comes from the Latin word wandering, and that's exactly what it does. It wanders through the body, constantly sending signals up to the brain and receiving signals back down. About 80% of the fibers in the vagus nerve are actually going upward from the body to the brain, which means your organs are talking to your brain almost constantly, and your brain is responding. Now, here is why that matters to you. The vagus nerve is the primary driver of your parasympathetic nervous system. I know you've heard of fight or flight. That is your sympathetic nervous system, right? The vagus nerve is the counterpart to that. It is what activates rest and digest. It is what brings your body back down after stress. And it is what tells your heart rate to lower, your digestion to resume, your immune response to regulate. Think of it like this. Your nervous system, it has two settings. One setting is the alarm going off, everything on a high alert, heart pounding, digestion halted, inflammation up. The other setting is the alarm off, heart rate normal, digestion working, inflammation coming back down. The vagus nerve is the mechanism that turns that alarm off. And when it's working well, your body moves in and out of those two states fluidly. Stress happens, your system activates, and then the vagus nerve brings it back down. That's how it's supposed to work. But in women with chronic migraines, it often is not working that way. And that is the conversation that we need to have. So there's a term that I want you to remember: vagal tone. Vagal tone is essentially a measure of how well your vagus nerve is functioning. High vagal tone means your parasympathetic nervous system is responsive. You recover from stress efficiently. Your heart rate variability is good. Your digestion is working. Your inflammatory response regulates properly. Low vagal tone means the opposite. Your system is sluggish at recovery. You stay activated longer after stress. You do not come back down as quickly or as fully. Your heart rate variability is poor. Your digestion is compromised. And here is where this lands hardest for the women that I work with. Your inflammatory response does not regulate properly. Chronic migraine is associated with low vagal tone. This has been studied. What the research shows is that women who have chronic migraines tend to have measurably lower vagal tone than women who do not. their parasympathetic response is dampened. Their bodies are spending more time in that alarm state and less time in that recovery state. And here's where it starts to connect to everything else you know about inflammation. When your vagus nerve is not adequately activating your parasympathetic nervous system, your immune system stays in a more activated state. Inflammatory cytokines stay elevated. Your body is essentially running a low-grade inflammatory process in the background all the time because the shutdown signal is weak. That is part of what is feeding your inflammatory overload loop. Not the only part, but a significant one that almost nobody addresses. Now, the reason that the vagus nerve almost never comes up in a standard neurology appointment is not because neurologists don't know what it is. They absolutely do. The reason it doesn't come up is because the conventional approach to migraine is not looking at the nervous system as a dynamic system that can be improved. It's looking at the nervous system as a fixed structure that produces symptoms that need to be managed. So if your framework is symptom management, the vagus nerve isn't on the list. There's no vagal tone prescription, so it does not enter the conversation. But if your framework is root cause resolution, the vagus nerve is absolutely relevant, because if your body is stuck in a chronic low vagal tone state, if the alarm is, essentially always at a low level, then your inflammatory threshold is permanently lower than it should be. That means smaller inputs trigger bigger responses. That's why everything feels like a trigger. And that's why your sensitivity seems to be getting worse over time, not better. You have not become more fragile. Your nervous system has been running on too little recovery for too long. In episode 2, I am going to go deeper into exactly how a dysregulated vagus nerve feeds your migraine cycle. We are going to talk about the HPA axis, about sympathetic overdrive, about why you never fully recover between attacks, even when you are doing everything right. There is a physiological reason for that, and it actually has a name. And in episode 3, we're going to get a little practical. We're going to talk about how to actually retrain the vagus nerve, what that looks like, and why the order in which you do things matters more than most people realize. Now, before I let you go today, I want to say this. If you have been told that your nervous system sensitivity is just something that you have to manage, that you are just someone who's wired this way, I want you to hear this a little bit differently. Vagal tone is not fixed. It can change. Your nervous system has what's called as neuroplasticity. It can be retrained. And when it is retrained in the right sequence with the right foundation under it, the results can be significant. And that is what migraine freedom actually means. Not managing a nervous system that is perpetually stuck, but a nervous system that is genuinely shifted. So if today's episode started to connect some dots for you, I want to invite you to take the Migraine Sensitivity Scorecard. It is a quick assessment that gives you a clear picture of where your nervous system is right now and how sensitized your inflammatory response has become. The link is in the show notes. All right, make it a migraine-free day, and we will see you next week.